When you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need.
Vascular disease or heart disease mortality death rates. Again, where orange is the highest, light blue is moderate, and dark blue is the lowest. And these are cancer mortality rates, cancer death rates. Same color scheme. And I always tell people, we're not trying to tell a causal story with these maps. So we're not saying map A causes map B, causes map C, causes map D. But we are asking you to note where the orange stays orange, the light blue stays light blue, and the dark blue stays dark blue. Health, life itself, not equally distributed throughout the region.
Lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. And high up above or down below, when you're too in love to let it go.
Why they're sleeping and why they're not in their room or in their apartment. So my parents moved us out of the housing projects and
they had other adults, and I think it was him and one other student that was there to talk about their experience with the Race Summit. And there was one educator from a county school, and she was a Caucasian woman, and she says, you know, I have problems relating to my students that come from the city. Can you give me some advice on how I can better relate with students from the city? And the student looked at her, and I couldn't, Jim and I we were dumbfounded. There's no way we could have articulated any better than that, and I'm probably going to botch it now, but he basically looked at her and says, you don't know who they are. You can't relate to them. You don't know their story. You don't know me, and you don't know my story. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Daniel Ledbetter, who is going to tell
All right, my name is Daniel Ledbetter. I would like to thank Dr. Walters and Mr. Powers for this opportunity to just speak to you all. I'm working on going to the University of Missouri St. Louis, UMSL. I will be majoring in music, double majoring in music and architectural engineering. So I'm from a single parent family. I'm the youngest of 5 children. And so we were sitting at that table with the lady, and she was trying to figure out, she's like, the children, like their behavior. So the first thing I said is you have to get to know your students. Because like me, my family was homeless for a while, and Mr. Cable, one of the counselors, he knows this, and I would come to school some days I had tears in my eyes, some days I hadn't eaten in days, and I was hurt. I was like, my father isn't really in my life, and there is so much that we go through as students. And when we get to school, there's do-nows and there's things, and we're not really about to be motivated to do those things, and we don't have food at home, and we're wearing the same clothes, and we see everybody with new stuff. So what you have to do is, first, you have to get uncomfortable. Being a teacher is going to be uncomfortable. The second thing, after you get uncomfortable, like they were saying, you have to make those relationships. But I'm just here as an example to tell you, you could be from a single parent household, you could be the youngest of 5 children, a black male. Sometimes it's hard because we face different things and systems of our society. And your students can be successful if you push them and you make that relationship. You may have a favorite student and you may show favoritism, but you have to make sure that you lift all your students up because they really need it. At the end of the day, like, they're going home back to the same situations. But like he was saying, if you could just like plant that seed you don't know, you could be looking at a next lawyer, the next president. So
let's rewind the tape to last June. A group of us attended a PBS conference in which we were introduced to the concept of trauma-informed. It truly was a game changer for all of us. It's centered around the Adverse Childhood Experience Study, or ACE. What is amazing is that this study is almost 20 years old, but few of us have ever heard of it in education. The study examines 10 types of child trauma, 3 types of abuse, sexual, physical, emotional, 2 types of neglect, physical, emotional, and 5 types of family dysfunction. Things of having a mother who is treated violently, household members alcoholic, been in prison, diagnosed with mental illness, parents who separate, divorce. Oh my gosh. This hits us hard. There's a strong link between these adverse childhood experiences with an adult onset of chronic illnesses, higher heart disease, depression, suicides, and lower life expectancy. If you're in the buzzwords, insert disrupt or innovate, but for me, it meant tapping into our existing experts, as you see here, the social workers, counselors, nurses, etc., with a goal of changing our lens from what's wrong with you to asking what's happened to you. Because we want to replace this scene with this scene.
To the restroom, that it will say sensory room. But also I need for you guys to make sure that you have some signals so it would not disrupt your classroom. This is to help the aggression. So they're going to take these and work through this immediately.
Approach it from the mental standpoint too, where you engage in the practice or even meditation to help calm the mind, or you can energize the mind. You also have the spiritual aspect of it as well too. I say all those things to let you all know to keep in mind that when you do bring these things into your classrooms, you're doing a lot more than stretching. You're doing a lot more than building muscle strength. You're helping yourselves and these young people manage their energy levels. And it can be a very dramatic thing sometimes. Sometimes you feel it immediately. And sometimes they feel it this way. You're going to move into some seated cat and cows. So bring your hands on top of your thighs. As you inhale, gently lengthen through the lower back and lift into the chest. Feel free to lift the gaze if that feels good on the neck. As you exhale, roll into the back. Let the chin fall towards.
In there. So kids like that get too overstimulated, too distracted in the classroom and get kicked out 10 times a day could use a classroom like that where they can gradually come back during the times when it's not, so overwhelming. I mean, first thing in the morning.
The way it runs now, it looks like I'm getting a flood when I tell you of students coming in. A lot of them are sensory, but then a lot of them just have some behaviors that need to be put in check. And I'm looking at this article here, which I'm going back, when you say zero tolerance, that gives the leeway to suspension. Because if you're not going to tolerate, then they got to get suspended. So when you look at our kindergartners and the data there, all the way through, that's a lot of kids. So we're sending the wrong message.
When you get what you want, but not what you need. When you feel so tired, but you can't sleep. Stuck in reverse. And the tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to